Leroy Chiao, one of the nation's most accomplished astronauts, PhD, entrepreneur, educator, and speaker. Dare to dream, strive to achieve. Born in the U.S. to immigrant Chinese parents, Chiao grew up in a dual-culture home. His language ability, knowledge, experience, and insights would prove to be invaluable. In 1969, an 8-year-old boy watched the first Apollo moon landing and dreamed of becoming an astronaut. He strived, persevered, reached, and went past all foreseeable possibilities, receiving a plethora of awards and accreditations. Astronaut Leroy Chiao. Be true to yourself and follow your dreams.
I mean, 4 or 5 years ago, I didn't think I was going to be part of all this, and so it just shows you how interesting life can be.
My next guest is an American astronaut who has made 4 trips to outer space. His latest was a 6.5-month stay on the International Space Station. That's nothing to do with the International House of Pancakes. Please welcome Leroy Chiao, everybody.
I was 8 years old when the first Apollo moon landing happened, and I still remember very vividly watching that. And then even before that, I was following the earlier flights of Gemini, and but it was really the Apollo moon landing that solidified in my mind as an 8-year-old that this is something I'd like to do. You know, space is something that I've been dreaming about since I was an 8-year-old kid watching the first Apollo moon landing. So being selected to be an astronaut and then finally getting a chance to actually fly was the realization of a boyhood dream. So the very first time strapping into the space shuttle, people often ask you, well, is this something you were scared of? Were you nervous? And the answer, across all of us was no, because this is something that you've been dreaming about, you've been working hard, and the only thing we're afraid of is that we're going to not get a chance to go. So once the solid rocket booster's light, I'll tell you what, it's really a feeling of relief. I'm very excited about the private sector. I was at NASA for 15 years. I flew 4 missions, flew on shuttles, flew on the Russian Soyuz, commanded the space station, and one of the reasons I left NASA is because I'm so excited about the possibilities of private space exploration in the next 5 to 10 years. To me, this is exactly paralleling the development of the airplane. In the beginning, it was for the few, it was risky, people died, but who could have foreseen back then what would have come out of those, the birth of the airplane?
Build a team to launch into orbit and beyond. Spaceflight is a demanding endeavor that requires the ultimate in teamwork. Selected by NASA in January 1990, Dr. Chiao became an astronaut in July 1991. He received flight assignments as a space station commander, space station science officer, and as a space shuttle mission specialist. Applied the lessons learned and practices of the space program. Learn firsthand lessons of team building from a space station mission commander.
Starting from the days way back when the first primitive people decided to go over the hill and to see what was on the other side, to the voyages of Columbus and our first forays into aviation and space flight, people are just curious, and we need to go see what's on the other side of that mountain.
So what happens when you're coming back down then? I don't like the turbulence in airplanes. I don't like that. Is that, you got a lot of that coming in? Does it all kind of rattle and shake?
Surprisingly not. You would think so. We're coming down from 17,500 miles an hour orbital velocity.
17,500 miles an hour?
Right. And you hit the atmosphere and you just start slowing down. And that's what causes all the friction, causes all the heat. And in the Soyuz especially, I'm right next to the hull. I was in the right seat on the way down. And porthole here, you can see the fire going by, bits of the heat shield going by. And it's very smooth. It's a nice, smooth entry into the atmosphere.
Smooth or not, when I see, bits of stuff going by, flames, that's not smooth in my book, sparkly.
Success in multicultural space. In this shrinking world and universe, opportunities abound for professionals who understand the importance and advantages of multicultural teams. Experience the unique lessons learned from preparing for and flying international space missions, from the perspective of a first astronaut of Chinese heritage to perform a spacewalk and to command a space crew. Chiao has worked flawlessly with Russian, Japanese, European, Canadian, and American astronauts and specialists.
Expedition 10 was the 10th flight to the International Space Station, and it was a 2-man crew, myself as the commander and NASA science officer, and Sergeant Sharipov, a Russian Air Force colonel, was my crewmate.
Now, the primary purpose of Expedition 10 was to keep the space station in a good state of repair, as you know, until we could get the shuttle flying again and begin resumption of major construction of the space station. So we are keeping the station in good repair, doing scheduled maintenance as well as repairing things that would break along the way. But we also had a pretty aggressive science program. Now, of course, we were limited in what kind of science we could do by the up mass and the down mass that was available. We couldn't bring up any new experiment racks or bring back a lot of samples, but we did what we could science-wise, and we actually achieved more science than we had set out to do. It's more than we had planned. We also did 2 Russian EVAs on the flight, which was very interesting to me because I've become an expert on American EVA, having done 4 spacewalks on my two spacewalking missions. But this is my chance to put an Orlan, a Russian Orlan suit on, and get to try that out.
Leadership perspective of an expedition commander. Effective leadership can mean the difference between life and death, success and failure. During his 15-year career as a NASA astronaut, Dr. Chiao, a veteran of 4 space missions, learned from the experiences of the commander of Expedition 10, a 193-day mission aboard the International Space Station. Chiao has logged over 229 days in space, over 36 hours of which were spent in extravehicular activity, EVA or spacewalks.
Well, the best thing about flying, the most useful thing about flying astronauts in space is because humans are very flexible and adaptable. And so we are able to learn and perform tasks that we didn't train on. Yes, we launched the first element in 1997, so it has been there a while. And, you know, it's been a learning process because we have had a few problems. We've had to do repairs. And this is how we're learning.
Scare you up there? Did you get scared by
no,
you run out of oxygen or anything?
No, we have come close on some supplies, but we've always been resupplied okay, and this is how we're learning how to go to Mars. We've got to learn how to build better spacecraft, more robust spacecraft, and you know, we've just got to get smarter on long-duration spaceflight so we can go back to the moon and on to Mars.
View from the on high. Adventures of a professional astronaut. Experience spaceflight from the on-high perch of the International Space Station. Get the behind-the-scenes tour from the commander of Expedition 10. Stunning photographs and personal stories make this an unforgettable experience.
Well, this is the Russian service module. This is kind of the heart of the station. Over here are the 3 windows that we shot from.
Not large.
No, very small portholes, 1, 2, 3.
The station mock-up shows he didn't have much room to maneuver, but as the Earth raced by at 17,500 miles an hour, he wedged himself and shot.
As you can see, this lens almost fills the window, and so you've got to kind of brace yourself, maybe use, you know, some toes to hold onto a handrail and maybe a hand to steady yourself, but then get ready for your shot. And as the world goes by, you know, you try to pan that target and while you're shooting.
He produced images of stunning beauty.
These are the Tokan Lakes in Egypt, and this water here is, of course, normally blue. This isn't ice or anything. This is, again, using sun glint, reflecting off the water into the lens. It makes it look like it's quicksilver or just liquid metal of some kind. So this kind of a photo, it doesn't even look real.
And this is the picture I'd like to leave you with. This is a picture I shot of the moon using an 800mm lens, again seeing the Earth on the left with the blue of the horizon, the sunlight working through the horizon. And this picture to me says dreams, and this is what I talk to all of my audiences about, is the importance of having dreams and of realizing those dreams.
Do I want to go into space again? Well, I've spent 15 years at NASA, and I've flown 4 space missions, and I've spent about, I think, 229 days in space, so that's a long time. I think I'm done flying in space for now. I'm going to reserve the right to go back, though, because there are a number of private companies now trying to get into space. And I've been doing a little bit of work with some of those folks, so it's not out of the question that I could go back someday.
For more information, please contact leading authorities.